If it matters to you, it matters to us. Call Tipp today on 1-800-938-007.
Now, we love to dream every week by speaking to Fergal O'Keefe, who is the host of the podcast series called The Travel Tales. And we just love to talk about travel, and he's with me online. Good morning to you, Fergal.
Good morning. That was getting me hungry. My stomach is rumbling now.
Oh, wouldn't I love some... Can you imagine some warm bread now with butter on it and everything? It just sounds fantastic altogether. What are you going to talk to us about this week, Fergal?
Yeah, so the season 2 of the podcast, Travel Tales with Fergal, is coming out tomorrow, and I'm doing a ski special. I've interviewed 10 people for it. So I thought it'd be a good time to talk about skiing and, making plans. Like just say at the moment, obviously with, it's amazing how quickly things change. When I was recording these people, it was towards the end of last year and the start of this year. And I was talking to an Irish journalist, Catherine Murphy, about the season ahead. So I had to cut out all that because things change. But I would still say that it's a lovely holiday, especially a family holiday. And I think that, we need sort of a bit of positivity now. And I think it's a good time to actually now think about next year's trip. Because some people, people who are working away are actually making savings. They're not going out for lunch or spending money on things. So my suggestion would be to put a little bit away every week, starting now, and by next February, which is a lovely time to go skiing, you would have enough money for a skiing holiday.
Yeah, that
and
sounds
also,
lovely.
Yeah, and also a good time, say for skiing, it actually now is a good time to plan for next year because you actually get to see what resorts are like. Like just say a tip I would give, something that I do, just to tease myself, is I get snow reports every day, like different websites like J2 Ski, and they send you a snow report on all the different resorts in Europe. But it's actually a great way of seeing what type of snow resorts get at this time of year. So that's what I mean by it's a great time to actually start planning now for next year, because you can see, right, that's a good resort for snow, because obviously for skiing, having snow is one of the most important things.
Indeed it is. And where would you look to? I've never been on a skiing holiday at all, and it never even crossed my mind as a holiday, to be honest with you. So if you were to sell it to me, what would you say, Fergal? Okay,
well, I would say that when people do go on it, a lot of people get hooked. They often say, I would say that it's for a family holiday, it is one of the best you can have. And because, sort of unlike a lot of holidays, you actually are doing a lot of activities with your kids, and kids love it because they're skiing every day. They're sleeping at night time because they're tired after the skiing, and particularly so for young kids, you're teaching them a skill, how to ski. Mm-hmm. And for older teens, it's great because I would say it's one of the few holidays that older teens are quite happy to go with their parents and hang out with their parents. Yeah. So from that point of view, it is a lovely holiday, but for anybody. So, there's different resorts in Europe for different people. So recommendations that I would make, say for a family, if you were a family holiday, the French are great for family ski holidays. Their resorts are quite, they're geared up. Often you can ski in and ski out from the hotel. They've got great ski schools. And a place that I've gone to a few times is called Léger in France, which is just an hour from Geneva. And I would highly recommend that. If people do go skiing, they'll know it's next door to Morzine and another place called Avoriaz, which is a great ski and ski out one. So as a family holiday, it really is fabulous, I have to say.
We tend to think of it. We tend to think of it as being expensive because, where you're going to begin with. But then, in terms of the gear, the equipment, and all of that.
Yeah, so you know what? Like the same as everything, Lidl and Aldi has been a godsend. Yeah. So you can actually get the gear for really cheap from Lidl and Aldi, and that's how you spot the Irish people up the mountain, because they're the ones skiing down in the Aldi gear, because we don't care. We're not there for the fashion. Yes. The Russians are there for the fashion. So you really can. The same as everything, you can do it if you do it yourself, and that's why I would say now is actually a great time. If you went, right, I'm going to go this time next year, now is a great time because, same as any holiday, if you book the flight yourself and you book accommodation yourself, it is so much cheaper, and now would actually be a good time contacting, say, Airbnb, chalets, dealing directly, or even hotels, because I would say that they would be quite willing to be giving deals for next year at this stage. And
I'm sure they would, yeah.
Yeah.
I always think of Austria when I think of skiing. Is that fair to say? Is it?
It is, and Austria is great. So I talked about France for families, but Austria is brilliant for, if for adults, say, going. That it's famous for its Apres Ski, and that's very much a part of the whole experience, not just the skiing, and particularly for Irish, it's the fun afterwards, because the whole place livens up. Austria has got some very famous resorts like Skiu and Sol, but particularly San Anton. Everyone on the podcast picked there as the most, the best place for Apres Ski. So people in their, anyone that wants to go out, all ages, really, it is, like say in San Anton at 5 o'clock in the evening, they say that the largest number of daily beer sales are in that town during the winter, because it is just party zone. Like there's famous bars that are on the slopes called like Moose Fort and Crazy Kangaroo, where you'd have thousands of people outside partying, and then they ski back down the mountain after that. So
it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it really is a great experience, I have to say.
Yeah, but you'd want to be an accomplished skier, obviously.
Well, that's it. Again, that's the beauty of skiing, is that there are different resorts for what you're looking for. So, say France for family, I'd say Austria for Apres Ski. Then for beginners, like an awful lot of Irish people, and Catherine Murphy, who's the top ski journalist in Ireland on the podcast, her recommendation was Andorra for beginners, and a lot of Irish people go there. So it's very much geared up for great ski schools and for English speaking. So for Irish people, I would recommend to go there to start your first ski trip, and it's got great Apres Ski as well. So, there's different levels, and then sort of advanced resorts, or like I say in Switzerland, Verbier is very famous for that, for off-piste. So that's the next stage. So depending on your level, there is something for people, there really is,
And worldwide, Fergal, what would be the best resort? Because, sometimes on these glossy programs on television, in the States, for example, we see wonderful stuff. In Canada, we see wonderful stuff.
Yeah. So, Europe, we're so lucky that we have Europe so close to us. So a lot of great resorts. But then for people that want to travel further afield, I had an American who recommended Vermont and New Hampshire for skiing. But what he said to me was that it's very cold compared to Europe. But I had another guy, Canadian, who spent a season in Whistler, and he said that's the best resort. He would consider it the best resort in the world, in Canada, and that's spectacular. It's that cliched, log cabin town. The streets are even heated. They heat the streets to melt the snow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
My God.
And and that's a trip of a lifetime, but it really is picture perfect, I have to say, there, Whistler. And then I had another guy, a famous ski instructor in Verbier, and his recommendation was Japan. And he said...
Japan? Wow.
Yeah. So he brings people there every year, and he said, a few years ago, the English would have been, people not having English was a bit of an issue, but he said now that isn't an issue, and also price, it's similar enough to Europe. And some of the best skiing in the world there. So, yeah. And actually another guy I had on the podcast is an Irish guy, Philip O'Connor, who lives in Stockholm. And he really recommended there. So that's another one off the beaten track for people.
And
so,
did you bring the kids on skiing?
I did. So I brought all the family, and I joke now because they're sort of saying it's like their human rights are being violated. They can't go skiing. That's the only tricky thing. Once you bring them, they would say to me they prefer to go on a ski trip than to go on a summer holiday, because it's so you're active all day. They're using up energy. They're learning to ski, and as I said, by, say, being smart or borrowing, we often share our gear with friends who go. You can share gear with friends. You just book flights with Ryanair sort of into Geneva. Say that place, Léger, I would highly recommend. It's only an hour away from Geneva. So you fly in the morning and you're skiing in the afternoon. And then you know, like at the end of the run, at the end of the day, with the kids having hot chocolates, and it's so gorgeous, I have to say.
It just sounds lovely. You see, it's the Apres Ski that would interest me greatly, because that notion of the big fires and a few beers and all of that sounds great. Your travel tales, they kick, season 2 kicks off. Is it tomorrow?
It is. So season 2 kicks off tomorrow, and that's a big one, I have to say, because I had 10 contributors, so was putting that together, but I'm very happy with it. So I've people like David McWilliams, the economist, talking about skiing, and I have people from all over the world actually talking about it. So Keith Wood, the rugby player Keith Wood, talking about his favourite skiing. So I really recommend that one, and it's every Tuesday after that for the rest of the season.
Well, and it seems to be gaining more momentum all the time, which is fantastic. You've Vancon McGann on as well. I really admire. He's got great stories to tell, hasn't he, about travel?
He is amazing, absolutely amazing. He's been all over the world, and he was interesting because he's very much into sustainability, and he now isn't flying anymore. So
you wonder how long that's going to last.
I know. But you know what's funny? I remember he wrote an article about it maybe a year ago saying it, and I was going, wow. But now, it's funny how you can adjust.
Yeah.
I haven't gone abroad either since he wrote that article.
Yeah, but it's not going to stop him, though, from going abroad, I think. No, I think he may use ships and sort of all sorts of stuff. There as well. Listen, it's great to talk to you, Fergal, and thanks very much indeed for coming on with us today. Thank you. We look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye to you now. And if you want to have a look at that on all of the usual platforms, it's Fergal O'Keefe, and it's Travel Tales, and it's most interesting. If you want to dream about travel, because it looks like we won't be travelling for a while, but if you want to dream about it, sure, why not? What's the harm? In conjunction with COVID, says one of our listeners, I was in the COVID conversation. I was in a shop in a certain town. This shop was very busy. Nobody talks about the shop assistants. 4 or 5 behind the counter, everybody answering the same phone. Where's the shop manager? Where's the HR? Where's the committee? Where's the top management? One lady did come out and say the tills are full, no screen at the counter, and please mind the staff, because the best of shop staff in these shops, and they're all so helpful, but are they being looked after? This is one of our listeners. Well, that's it for me for today, and Doc produced. Stephen is on the way with the Time Tunnel, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. So do look after yourselves in the meantime, won't you? Bye-bye now.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today with Fran Curry.
In association with Slattery's of Pecan, Tipperary's main Peugeot dealer. Slattery's Garage Pecan, the name you can trust for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
If it matters to you, it